Hello, good evening. It's 9:15 here in the Philippines and on a Sunday evening. My thought for the day, which I've been meaning to do for a couple of days now, but with the advent of no internet connection, it's made it very hard trying to download or upload videos simply using load on your phone. One thing that has, I suppose, troubled me is that many of the bloggers here in the Philippines, whether American, Australian, English, obviously tackle many subjects. Some of them are what I call everyday subjects, like buying a car, getting a bank account, dealing with visas, maybe even trying to find a place to rent, building a house, you name it, they do them all. But those that choose to be a little bit more, I suppose, on the mark in terms of giving you information about coming and considering the Philippines as a place not only to retire but also maybe to find that elusive relationship that one always, those that anyway that come to the Philippines are looking for. This channel alone, both channels have talked about age-related relationships, what they call, somebody who's maybe 20 or 25, marrying or hitching up with a guy who's maybe 60, 70 years of age, and all of the possible outcomes or disadvantages, pros and cons of that kind of relationship. Inevitably, what will happen is that those that are sitting there in your little armchair somewhere in England or Australia or America will make up your own mind. You don't need to really watch videos to determine whether that's what you want in life. But some of you who are deciding whether or not to make a move to Southeast Asia, you work your way through the idea of Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and places such as Vietnam and Cambodia. And of course, the Philippines usually comes in somewhere on that list. Some of you have spent time through work or through the military being involved with coming to the Philippines at some point in your lives. You have a preconceived idea of the place based upon those assumptions. But like a lot of channels, and dare I say Calvin from Sunshine Shoulders, who I've listened to a lot of his videos, whether I like them or not really doesn't come into it, in the sense that it's not for me to determine whether you like it because I like it. But he does talk about a lot of the things that he does mention about, particularly Filipinos and the way they are with foreigners, is you need boots on the ground. And I do agree with him that, or anybody that suggests that you've got to have time in a country to determine whether or not it's the place for you. And there are a lot of guys out there that, in a way, try and put you off the idea of coming here. Oh my goodness, I think the last one I saw, there was 10 different things that you have to know about the Philippines before you come here, or 5 of the worst things, or the 3 most important things. Well, we've all done something like that, or inferred that in our own videos, and it's designed to wake you up, to make you think more. It's not about putting you off coming here. I mean, I've been here 10 years. Why would I want to put you off coming here? I can tell you my own experiences. I can tell you some of the things that I've found to be difficult to deal with. And I can also point out all of the wonderful things that I've seen and done here. Many of you who followed my British expat in the Philippines would have known that at the start of the channel, it was a challenge and it was an enjoyable journey. But during that period of time, we hit some rocky times, and it probably reflected in a lot of the videos I did. But regardless of the outcome for myself, I certainly would never attempt to dissuade you from coming here, because first of all, you are yourself. It's only you that makes up your own mind. It's whether this place suits you, whether what you see or experience is what will eventually make you decide yes or no. I really do think that people who come over looking for wives that they've spoken to for, I don't know, a year, maybe 6 months, online, I think they're foolish getting married, sight unseen. But that's not to say that it hasn't worked for them up to the date we're talking now. Because many of the things that we do talk about will inevitably somewhere along the line brush past your door in some shape or form. You know, it doesn't matter how many videos I do talking about communication, understanding each other, getting a point across, because for some it's a breeze. Some they just go through blind, don't care. Yep, that's all right, dear. Anything you say, my sweet. And that's how they leave it. They don't challenge anything. They don't ask themselves, why is this person treating me this way or that? After all, am I not the person that's saved them? Am I not the person who's changed their lives? You know, like with the knight on a white horse. You know, that's a tired expression for people to use. We don't save them. We are, after all, the prize, you know. And of course, some of us will say they are the prize. You know, everybody's different in that sense. But it is about finding the right one. And, you know, did you find the right one where you came from? Is she the right one? Now she's number 3 in the list, or number 4, or number 5, whatever. Why did you break up from your last wife? Why did life not turn out what you thought it would do? We all ask that question. I mean, I had 2 brothers. I didn't know them for much of a period of time in my life because I was adopted, but I found them both. And I'm jealous, yeah, I'm envious of them. They had 1 wife, 1 life. Well, sadly, one's passed away. But the other one's still going strong. He's 4 years older than me. Same wife, all the kids, same husbands. It works out for some families. Some people manage to keep their relationships going. What is the secret? You know, it's like asking an old person, I'm 94, what's the secret to long life? Who knows? It's personal, it's on a one-to-one basis. We pick up a newspaper, we read the tabloid, and it says 98-year-old, still going strong, smokes 40 cigarettes a day, drinks gallons of Coke, has a coffee every hour. All the things that are not supposed to be good for you. And they still live to 96 and 98. Who knows? Who does know? But coming to the Philippines is a challenge. It's a wonderful experience. Sun every day. Whoa, it's hot at the moment. But you get used to it. You do the things that you need to do in the morning. And when I say the morning, that's from 5 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, through till around about 8:30. After that, forget it, mate. It's just stinking hot. And you find something or somewhere to go that you can stay cool. It's not like that all year round, but it's certainly like that this time of the year, summertime. Wet season, dry season, summertime, wintertime. If you want coolness, you have to go up to the mountains. You have to find an area where the mountains are cooler. One of the most popular places here in Luzon, which is the main island, the northern island. Not Northern Ireland, the Northern Island. And that is Baguio City, about an hour's drive up the hill from the sea near Bawang in La Union. But there they have a cool weather, pretty well all year round. Yeah, it gets warm, gets hot, but generally speaking it's quite cool up there. Hence, a lot of the vegetables, fruits are all grown up there. But back to what I'm talking about, and that is that there can be a myriad of things that will put you off coming here to the Philippines. But don't use the channels that you watch with the idea that there's a trend to put people off coming here. Because that's not true. What there is there's a trend for many who fail to reach their own expectations to give up and go away, to leave the country, go maybe to Thailand, go to another country. But are they putting off other people? I don't think so. I think that you all have got enough now, so even for stupid people to work out that there's always somebody out there that will fit your bill. You can make mistakes. You can do it anywhere in the world. You just don't have to be in the Philippines to do that. What will put people off is their attitude towards what they perceive is normal life. If you come here with the idea that somehow you're being disenfranchised because you can't own land. You can live in central London, you can't own land there either. A lot of those places are owned by the Crown. They're part of the Duchy of Cornwall estate. And hence you can only get a lease on a land. My mother had a lease, a 99-year lease. She had to renew it. Queen Street in Piccadilly. Did she consider it was a waste of time because she couldn't own the land? Of course not. You think the lease didn't go up in value? Don't think for a minute that just because you've got a 25-year lease in a little town somewhere, and because the price of land has doubled, that your land hasn't increased too. Hence, your lease has increased in value too. And most people's leases are built in to get at least 50 years out of it. It's up to whomever agrees to sign a lease. Certainly cover most of your life, if not all of it. And if it's a home on leased land, if you're not stupid, you build into that lease the opportunity to buy that land at an agreed price. So that over time, what you can do is make sure that your wife is in a position where she can buy that land, so she can turn that house into a freehold property. It only takes common sense to use those ideas. You're not circumventing the law. You just build into it an opportunity to buy the lease back. When your partner who dies is a foreigner, and you want your wife who succeeds you, she's your heir, you want her to have security for the future. So you build into it a situation where you're paying off that lease. Maybe even build it into the lease itself, where you can be buying the property on the basis of rent to buy type of thing. There's all sorts of ways of doing things. Nothing precludes you getting a certain amount of security in the sense that you want to be able to provide for the one that you love. And the idea that somehow, because you're a foreigner, you're disadvantaged, that's rubbish. You know, you can go out and buy as many cars as you want, motorbikes as much as you want. You don't even need a driving license to be able to buy those items. Many of you buy them for your wives anyway, so there's never been an issue necessarily of being able to sell it. And if you get on well with your wife, why can't you sell it? Just convince her that you're going to get a new one, or you're going to go and buy another one, or you're going to buy a car. It's about working with your wife, your girlfriend. If you're that worried that she's going to take you to the cleaners, then don't go with her. Simple as that. You know, who on earth gets into a relationship knowingly with somebody they think they can't trust? So, all of these things can happen to you wherever you are in the world. The Philippines is not exempt from naughty people, from people who have an ulterior motive. Just be sensible. Talk it over with a lawyer before you start talking finance and making those financial commitments. Try and cover all of the scenarios, the worst case scenario. Of course, Filipinos hate talking about death. They don't like those things, but are you going to leave her with paying for your own funeral? Make sure, it's not that much. Goodness, I got one for 45,000, or was it 48,000? I can't remember what it was exactly. But when I die, it's all taken care of. End of story. No burden on anybody. What you have to also do, if you're on a low pension, and I say a low one, on say $2,000 a month every 4 weeks, which is the Australian version, 2,2. And if you don't save some of that money, keep it aside, then you're not going to be able to leave her much when you're gone. She's only going to have whatever you've got in the bank account at that moment, but that you've allowed her to make use of during the time you're alive. But always make sure that a lawyer has got those documents in place. Drag her, kicking and screaming, and get her to sign with a lawyer to make it legal, so that when you do die, she can gain access to that money, and you make her life that much easier for her to continue without you being there. Now, if she blows it, there's nothing you can do about it. How many people do you ever know that the kids get inheritance and within a few weeks they bought a fancy car, maybe they bought the down payment on a house and they've got nothing else left? Dad left us some money, or Mum left us some money. That's all it is. Don't blame the Philippines for your own failings and your own lack of thought and judgment. The Philippines is a great place to live. It's a great place to relax. It's a great place to discover new things about yourself, your own way of thinking. It's going to change because we're not in the West anymore. We have to solve things the Philippine way. And living like a Filipino family, that doesn't mean you have to live in a cardboard box. Doesn't mean you have to build a bamboo shack, hang between two trees on a hammock. You can build a hollow block home. It wouldn't cost you more than 100,000 pesos. You could build a reasonable structure for that, at least. It's how you build it. You can do a combination of things. You can do a lot of the work yourself. But yeah, you could spend 200,000, 300,000 and still be happy. It's what you're happy with. You know, if you want hollow blocks on the wall, or you want walls like this, either do it yourself or just pay, a bag of plaster, 450 pesos for a bag of plaster, 20 kg. That would do pretty well this whole room. 3 coats, sanding it down, 3 coats. A pot of paint, 1,000 pesos, even if it was that. Sealer undercoat. Put a bit of colour into the undercoat. Then that way, while you're looking at it, and it is a seal coat, you get the finished look before you even finish. And it is a seal coat. You've just put a tint in it. Just use that. Use that, guys. Don't need to put people off coming here. Just accept that some of you don't like it. But for the majority of us, those that care about the Philippines and what's happening here, sure, it's becoming more Americanized. You can't help that. Through the music videos, through news, through YouTube, everything. It's slowly changing. It is changing. 10 years ago, people had a completely different attitude than they do now. Prices are going up. Of course, owners of land are going to put the price up when more people are asking about it. You get one person in 1 year asking for the price of a piece of land, it's whatever they're prepared to ask. And it's up to what you are prepared to pay. But now there's more people after the same piece of land, the same house, the same builder. The rates go up. Supply and demand. Yes, the Philippines is changing. Price of things are going up, but then equally. One day you can buy a bag of cement for 220. Another day you pay 260. It's like a yo-yo. You just get used to it. You can't hold on to lots of concrete or cement because it goes off. So you have to buy it at the right time. So you time your project to what is able to get the best deal. Steel goes up and down like a yo-yo too. That's something you can buy. You can put aside for your building project, but you need a place to store it. You can't always say to the owner of the hardware shop, I will pay $500,000 for all of that steel. Can you hold on to it for me? Because he's not stupid. You're going to be using his place to store it. So if you have a piece of land, live on the land. Put a little basic house on there. Live on it. Start to feel what it feels like to live in that particular place of reference. Your wife is going to be more than happy to live there anyway. Whatever you build her is going to be better than what she had before, which was probably nothing that she owned herself. And you're now building her a future, herself and her children. So come on, guys, be more positive. We can all have negative things happen to us, but we have to learn to turn them into a positive. And that's my message to anybody out there, because, it's a great place to retire. I really do mean it. You have a great time. Don't forget to like, share, and give us a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Night, guys.